Okay, we're live. What's going on, guys? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are starting your week off right. It's Jujutsu Kaisen discussion Monday. Um, but how's everyone doing though? How's everyone doing? Happy Monday. And Mondays, as you know, on this channel is where we talk about Jujutsu Kaisen, MODULO, and the latest chapter just dropped, chapter 18, and there's a lot to talk about. You see the thumbnail, you see the title, and you know you've heard the discussions the slander that's going on all over social media and the comparisons and all of that. And we're gonna get into all of that, but welcome to be here. Pull up a chair, relax, put me in the background, and yeah, let's get into it. All right. So we're back. So yeah, we're talking Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 18. A hell of a chapter. I think we've been starving for the past 2 weeks? No chapter for the past 2 weeks. And if you're like me, you didn't want to be spoiled with any spoilers. So you were like trying to stay clear of social media for the past week at least, right? And yeah, it's been hell, man. But they Gege really fed the streets with this one because it was worth the wait, right? I mean, like, geez, all the action in this, it's actually crazy. I don't know if this needs to be like the new standard, honestly, because maybe when they make manga shorter, we're gonna be blessed with like a lot more emotionally packed like chapters, the investment is crazy. So right off, starting from the beginning, right, we find out that oh, sorry, real quick before I get into it, for those who don't know, I'm Coco Dan. I'm the host and creator of the channel, and I've been watching anime and reading manga for the past 20 years. So I'm not an expert, not a critic or anything. I just love anime like you. I love good stories in general. Anime, just I love the format of anime, but I love good stories in general. And I've been watching them for a long time, and I just wanted a place where we could talk about things and discuss. Right. So if you're new to the channel, the whole point is for me to give my thoughts and then eventually bring you guys on in the later half of the show or the video, the live. So to bring you guys on, and you guys can let me know what you thought about the episode. It doesn't have to be a debate. There's no heat, no judgment. We can just talk about what you like, what you didn't like, and the point is just really to make it a more visual concept, a more visual format, right? Because every time we talk about anime, most of the time people see that's usually in the comments below, or on social media forums or chats and all of that. And it's like I wanted to create a space where people are more comfortable to like show their face, right, and like put a face to the idea, to the thoughts, to the discussions. That we're not all, we're mostly not trolls, right? So just come on, like feel free. Uh, there's no heat, no judgment. Most people won't even see this till probably the replay, but who knows? We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep growing, and the goal is, especially considering Jujutsu Kaisen MODULO, the goal is to the plan is to move to have a stream every Monday 6:30 p.m. right, and we can all just come here and just to discuss it. All right. So yeah, that's a little info about me, and let's get into it. So from the jump, right, we see that the first page starts off with the knowledge that Rika has become a cursed tool, right? And we have our boy to thank for that. we have our boy Utah to thank for that, right? We find out that he was able to transfer his cursed energy to his ring, and it's now pretty much governed by Rika. So it's a whole bunch of cursed energy, enormous amount, but then Rika controls it. Now, this was pretty interesting because I think the first place we might have seen something similar to this was with Nanami and his I think it's called a bato, his weapon, right? The short sword. Um that was the first time we saw that, and so immediately I saw this, that was the first thing I thought of. But his is way better because I mean, it's just like a weapon. It depends on who's using it and stuff. But with his ring, Rika has like kind of works in conjunction with whoever's using the ring. So it's like you can almost have double owners, or at least you're also aware. And we've seen what happens when Tsurugi dons accepts the contract with Rika. I believe the way Yuta must have done this must have been probably through some binding vow, for sure. But at the same time, because she had to ask, you remember Rika asked, in the previous chapter, she's like, "Do you accept?" So I think there had to be some kind of vow, some kind of contract there for her to take over. But it's a pretty cool thing, by the way. It's just crazy just because like Nanami's technique, I always wondered like how exactly was he able to pass his technique onto his tool, onto his cursed tool, because he was in such a state that he didn't even really know what was going on. I guess unconsciously, he might have done it unconsciously because Sukuna said they were able to turn his technique into a cursed tool. But I feel like Nanami might have been the one who did that himself, like unconsciously, just like, in the moments of death, because there was so much going through his mind, so much energy, so much emotion at that time, he just passed it on to his curse technique. And, by the time maybe, what's his name? Got a hold of it, maybe he could feel it or something. But it was pretty cool. It was 100% cool. And we see that Utah, over the course of years, decades, right, was able to accumulate cursed energy and have Rika govern that. So I believe his goal was of giving it to either to Yuka or to one of his grandkids to help them out if they were in a tough spot. It's pretty much accomplished. And we see the look, right? This is the look. You see the thumbnail, you see the look. So her head, her arms, and at first I thought, okay, whatever, like what's gonna happen really? But we get to really see that her strength, her durability, her speed is seriously increased. So yes, Tsurugi's there in the back. Yeah, so he's aware of things going on. So he can see the fight, but who's in control, who's in the driver's seat is Rika. And yeah, she begins to put her paws on Maru, which is also pretty funny because sometimes I was also thinking about it. I'm like, who's stronger? Like Maru, Tsurugi, just base form, right? Who's actually stronger? Because what we've seen, I kind of from their fight, we kind of saw that I would say Tsurugi is stronger, just base form, no third eye, no nothing. But yeah, once he pulled out his third eye, all holds, no punches were being pulled anymore. Things got serious real quick. And now Tsurugi pulls out this, and yeah, they're both going at it. And I gotta give something, Maru tries to, flip through uses curse technique, chaos and harmony. He tries to flip the landscape and try to disorient his opponents. And she is having none of that. She just bulldozes through that. Her power is increased, her durability, her speed. He's doing everything to keep up, but at the same time, I gotta give it to Maru. He's not overwhelmed. So he's surprised, but he's not overwhelmed. So it's almost like he's not going all out as well, not yet. It looks like he has no choice at this point. So it's looking like he's gonna be doing a lot, doing a lot. The fight is gonna be entering its climax soon. I would say in the next 2-3 chapters, it's probably gonna be done. But yeah, I gotta shout out to Maru because Maru is not being overwhelmed. He understands it. The guy's mindset is ironclad. And even though he might be surprised here and there, I feel like he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I feel like this is going down to the wire, which speaks to his strength as well, right? It's not a usually when this kind of thing happens narratively, you pull out something like a new trick or a new card from the deck or a new, last resort. It usually overwhelms the opponent, right? At this late of a stage. But for Tsurugi to pull this out and Maru's like, oh, just surprised. Okay, wow, wow. But he's still there. He's like, okay, we're doing this. That tells you how strong he is, especially mentally. So I'm very curious to see how this ends. I will make my prediction at the end of my monologue, but you guys let me know what you guys think. But who wins this? Who wins this? Let's leave it there. But yeah, man. And after that, while they're going through that fight, we get to the big boy, Mahoraga. I like this picture better. We get to the big boy, Mahoraga, and Makura. I guess that's how they pronounce it. But this guy, man, someone said he's like, what, 3-0? Well, if he loses this, it'll be 3-0. But the dude, man, is really. I would love to know exactly how this guy came about. Like, what kind of curse is this guy? Like, I feel like the sacrifice to create this curse or whatever it costs to create a curse like this, how curses are born from certain things, human emotions and whatever he's born from or was created from must have been, over a crazy long time. It must have cost. If it wasn't a crazy long time, it must have like cost like the life force of a village or of a whole country. So I don't know, because to come up with something, how does something like this even exist in the wild? Think about it. You would need a Gojo level or a Sukuna level character to be able to subdue something like this. So this guy is a whole phenom by himself. I would love some kind of history or lore into him because he's so mysterious. He doesn't talk, right? But it's just a ball of rage. But yeah, man, we get to find out that he has begun to adapt to Dabra's technique, right? Dabra throws a couple things here and there, you know, the light constructs, and there my boy just eats that. You see the reference similar to Hikari, where he's like flexing. So it's just crazy to actually to see that. Like the aura farming in this panel, when I saw this, was crazy because the detail in the art. Shout out to Iwasaki, the artist. He really captured like the aura in this panel, because the way this picture, obviously you guys have read it, but this picture is a little bit it's really good, but it's a little, the coloring is a little dull, but the flexing, the concept that, listen, none of that shit you were throwing is working, right? And this guy really encapsulates that in this panel. So even Dabra is surprised. And I gotta say, it was really good to see his eyes open a little wider than 2 centimeters. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the dude is always looking bored. Finally, he starts to look a little worried. And I'm like, fine, yeah, okay, so that's what you look like. So, because Yeah, nothing he's throwing at um Makura is working. One of the things that he did though that was pretty cool was when he touched Makura Mahoraga, um, and it reminded me of Sukuna's ability where Sukuna sends out flying slashes normally, dismantle, right? But then cleave when he touches you. And I wonder if that's similar. At first, I wondered if that was similar to what Dabra does as well. Like, okay, maybe it's gonna be stronger when he touches you because he made some kind of crazy light attack, and it did not even phase um Mahoraga. And we see now that Dabra understands that okay, yeah, he's adapted. So he now understands what Mahoraga's ability is and his ability to adapt, and he starts to feel the pressure. Like, okay, I'm out of options. There's not much to do. What am I gonna do? And we get a flashback for the supposed villain. And when that happens, you're like, what? The villain gets a flashback as well. And we see that he's just never been all this time he's been fighting just because he was the strongest, kind of he was born the strongest, and he felt it was his duty as a warrior. And if and just in life, if your why is not strong, you're never really at your full potential of anything, right? So even if you're good at it, it's kind of like going to a job that you're good at. I used to think, oh, you want to do a job you're good at, but you can be good at a job and not like it, and you're just going through the motions. I mean, it's not hard. It could be something easy, and that's kind of what it was for Dabra all this time. He was just doing it because he was just trying to, you know, live up to the whole warrior mentality and his clan and his race and all of that. But his conversation with Dura explained it like, hey, listen, man, you've never actually been pushed. And when you fight because you have to, when you meet an opponent that forces you to really dig deep, then you'll really, you know, get to be a warrior. That's what it means to be a warrior, to really dig deep and actually find a reason to fight, you know? And he does that. He does that. We see in the fight, he gets beat the hell out of, and he's like, yo, am I actually gonna lose? Which is a question that every strong person has ever asked, right? Well, I guess Sukuna never asked that, but he did confirm that, hey, listen, if you had attacked me when I was just at three fingers, you probably would have won that. Gojo himself asked, would I lose? But that was more to Sukuna, not really to Mahoraga specifically. That was just like, hey, I'm fighting for my life here. But when Dabra finds his reason, he's like, okay. And you see this panel where he breaks the sword. I believe Sukuna did that in the animation. I don't know, So I think that sword comes back. It's just part of him, right? It's like cutting the head off of or cutting the arm off the dog, uh Chimera Shadow Garden, the dog, the or any of the Shikigami really. If like you cut off the limb, I feel like it still comes back. It's not gonna be like, oh, it's gone forever. But you see him when he realizes his reason to fight. Dura's last words were to protect the Rumelians, and he's like, okay, I got a reason now. I have to fight. This is not something that I can just you know shove off. And you see he just he turns it up, and man, it's gonna be a fight for the net in the next chapter, man. You see the look. He's gonna dig deep, and what's interesting is that his technique, Dabra's technique, is shadow and light, and I'm very curious about what that shadow means. The fact that it's blurred out, I don't think it actually is shadow. I think it said it's a word that's not pronounced well in human language, but I'm sure Gege will release that at some point. But I wonder what that technique does, and I think we're gonna see it next chapter. or before we see it, we get a little more insight into Dabra's technique. So, from what I understand or what I think, it seems that his technique allows him to truly use light, but because his body cannot like manipulate light, like think of it like fire, I think. So, this is my theory, but think of it like fire. Like if someone was to be able to control fire, like what do you call it, pyrokinesis or something, if they were able to create fire, a lot of our protagonists, a lot of our heroes or villains, they usually make like a fireball and they throw it, right? But a lot of them can't actually like envelope themselves with fire, right? Because your body would need to be a certain level of, resistant to what you're enveloping yourself with. So I think that's kind of similar to what Dabra is in the sense where he can send out light constructs, kind of like how a pyrokinesis would be able to send out fireballs, but he can't envelope, or he couldn't envelope himself with light and actually move, because his body, to do that, your body would need to be really tough to be able to withstand light speed or withstand movement at that speed, right? So it seems like that's what he's planning to do next chapter. So he's gonna be enveloping probably himself with light. Some of the translations for this chapter says, I'm gonna beat him till my arms fall off. Right? Just rush him, just blitz him till my arms fall off. And will that be able to kill? Will that be enough? I don't know. I don't think so, because narratively it's already said it here that, hey, he's never been able to do that. So pulling it out on the fly, I feel like it's gonna be an almost situation, and then he's gonna have to dig even deeper. Maybe we're gonna finally see him use the other part of his technique, like the shadow and stuff, which I'm very curious to see if it works like Megumi Zone, where it's like you can, go into your shadow, or it's just like darkness. Maybe it's not actually shadow; it's just like light and darkness, where you can just black out whatever you touch. Maybe just fades to black or some shit like that. So it's actually pretty cool. But I will make my prediction here. It's like, who first of all, who do you guys think is gonna win in this fight? But I'm gonna make a bold prediction, right? And my prediction is this: two scenarios. One, Dabra beats Mahoraga, and Tsurugi Orika beats Maru. So we're gonna get one win on both sides. So Dabra is gonna beat Mahoraga, and which will lead to Yuka's death, while Tsurugi will beat Tsurugi slash Rika will beat Maru. That said, that's one scenario. Or everyone's fight will be interrupted. I feel like that's a very big possibility. I don't know how, but it might be the appearance of Yuji or something. But I think everyone's fight will be interrupted. That's all. It's one of those two. So either we're gonna get clear winners, where it's gonna be the winners of this both duels that are going on is Tsurugi and Rika and Dabra for the duels, or everyone gets interrupted. So that's my take. What do you guys think? How do you think these fights play out? Who do you think is going to take it? Right. So that's just my little tidbit. Um. So pretty much that's my thought on the chapter. I thought it was an amazing chapter. I thought it was an amazing way to end the drought that we just came out of for the past 2 weeks. I want to know what you guys think. So I'm gonna let this play. I'm gonna give you guys show you guys how this channel will run. So for the next few minutes, I'm just gonna give people a chance. Put the link in the chat. Give people a chance to come up if they want to, and we can talk about it. And then yeah, we'll go for there. If there's no one in, that's fine. We're here every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, and the goal is to get people to come on and just talk about it with their chests. No more like typing behind the cameras. We're just talking. So let us do that. What you thought about the chapter, hit the link in the chat. I'm gonna put it in the chat real quick. We'll just talk about what you like. Okay, looks like we have some technical difficulties. All right, we'll get that sorted in the next stream. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the video or the stream or the format, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace, guys.